Hello ladies and gentlemen, Scared over here bringing you guys another Minecraft path to build tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be going ahead and building the USS Constitution. The USS Constitution, also known as Old Iron Sights, is a wooden-hulled, three-masted heavy frigate of the United States Navy. She is the world's oldest ship of any type still afloat. She was launched in 1797, one of the 6 original frigates authorized for construction by the Naval Act of 1794, and the third constructed. The name Constitution was among 10 names submitted to President George Washington by Secretary of War Timothy Pickering in March of 1795 for the frigates that were to be constructed. Joshua Humphreys designed the frigates to be the young Navy's capital ships, and so Constitution and her sister ships were larger and more heavier armored and built than standard frigates of the period. She was built at Edmund Hart's shipyard in the north end of Boston, Massachusetts. Her first duties were to provide protection for American merchant shipping during the quasi-war with France and to defeat the Barbary pirates in the First Barbary War. Constitution is most noted for her actions during the War of 1812 against the United Kingdom when she captured numerous merchant ships and defeated 5 British warships, HMS Gurri, Java, Pictou, Cyane, and Levette. The Battle of Gurri earned her the nickname Old Iron Sights and public adoration that had repeatedly saved her from scrapping. She continued to serve as a flagship in the Mediterranean and African squadrons, and she circled the world in the 1840s. During the American Civil War, she served as a training ship for the United States Naval Academy. She carried American artwork and industrial displays to Paris expeditions of 1878. And Constitution was retired from active service in 1881 and served as a receiving ship until being designated a museum ship in 1907. In 1933, she completed a 3-year, 90-port tour of the nation. She sailed under her own power for her 200th birthday in 1997, and again in August 2012 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of her victory over Gurri. So, yeah, kind of a crazy rap sheet for a ship here. To think that this ship is over 200 years old, still afloat, and is still capable of sailing today is just by all means wild to me, and props to the shipbuilders that originally built the ship and the maintaining crews that do maintain the ship. I thought this ship would be a perfect build to do for the 4th of July, which for all my American viewers out there is the anniversary of our Declaration of Independence from basically Britain during the Revolutionary War. And I thought this would be a perfect ship to kind of commemorate that. It was one of the kind of first ships that the nation built in terms of building its own navy. And it's just a very iconic ship that still is around today that resembles that historic past. And I think it came out amazing. Lots of great detail in it, and just overall a really nice looking ship. And this is a sailing ship, so it's something that it's a little bit different compared to what we've done before. So it should be pretty interesting. And we see it next to some of our more modern warships, and definitely is small in size, but still a pretty little mighty little ship. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at it here and kind of see what we're going to be building. So obviously we have all the rigging here for the ship, as you can see, pretty heavily detailed in terms of that. Try to get the rigging as close as I possibly could. Adding all the little details and stuff like that, really sparing no expense, because really that's where you're going to get a lot of your detail for these types of ships, is in the rigging, the sails, and all that stuff, because really the holes weren't anything crazy, and you know, your main detail was in your mast, and I think what I did here came out pretty good. Obviously we have all the mast here, the ladders going up the sides there to provide access to the mast. As I mentioned, this is a 3-mast ship, so we have the front one, the middle one, and then the back one, and all the wiring all the cabling between it, or roping I should say. Back here we have the flag, the American flag, and the rear little mast here, all the detailing around the ship here, and all that stuff. So just overall really nice looking ship. Gonna make an awesome addition to just kind of any of your ports. I did build this without the sails, because most of the time you're going to see the Constitution without its sails. If you wanted to, you can add your own sails to it and all that stuff, but for the sake of this tutorial here, we're going to leave it without the sails, just because most likely for sails here, you're just going to be doing some banners, just putting them down on the front there, because we don't really have many blocks that would really work too well for sails, other than the banners. But anyways, that right there is going to do it for this overview. Let's go ahead and move into the tutorial by beginning with our first layer. Alright guys, so going ahead and moving into our first set of layers here, we'll be going ahead and technically working on layers 0 and 1. Now for these layers, what I want to go ahead and mention, and I say 0 just because the trapdoors here on the bottom really don't count as a full block. I'm not going to really count that as a full block of space. So we're just going to kind of say layer 0 for 1 really. But basically this brick wall here we're going to be placing, we want to make sure that this is basically level with the water. So you can see here the blue concrete representing the water level, and then right there is where a brick wall is going to sit. At this point here, we're going to take our red concrete, and we're going to go back from the brick wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 red concrete blocks back, followed by a brick wall, and then a red stained glass pane directly after that. Once we have that all done there, we're going to go and go to the sides. We're going to place down a red stained glass pane on the side of this block on the mirror here, a brick wall, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 red concrete blocks forward, and then a red stained glass pane like that. We're going to do the same thing over here on this side as well. So just like this. Going all the way across, and then our red stained glass. And then out to the sides here again, we're going to go to the second red concrete block, place down 2 red stained glass panes, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 brick walls along the side, and a red stained glass pane. Same thing over here. Just like this to the outer side. And we get something that kind of looks like this here for our base. Now once we get to this point, we do want to go ahead and dive down to the bottom section here of our ship. So right down on the bottom. And we're going to start off by going ahead and going to our third from last red concrete block. So this one right here, we're going to place down in case with trapdoor. We're going to place down one more going forward, followed by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 forward. So it ends right beneath that second from the front red stained glass or red concrete block, and right there is basically it for those acacia wood trapdoors. Pretty straightforward stuff there, nothing too complicated for those. So again, starts right here and ends right there. Anyways, that right there is going to complete what we have there for layer 1. With that, let's go ahead and move into our next layer, layer number 2. Alright guys, moving into our next layer here, we have layer number 2. For layer 2, we're going to start off by placing down a black concrete block on top of this brick wall, followed by a wither skeleton skull coming off that block facing toward the front. We then want to place down a dark oak sign coming off the front of the wither skeleton skull, and then we're going to open it up toward the front like so. After that's done, we're going to go and then place down a black stained glass pane to both sides of this black concrete block, and then we're going to go then place down a chain coming off those blocks facing toward the front. We're going to go then place down a barrier block, which is going to be coming off those 2 chains, and we're going to go then place down a stone button coming off those 2 barrier blocks like so. Once that's done, we're going to then place down a black concrete block here, followed by a second block back, and then to the sides we're going to place down 2 polished black stone walls like this to both sides. Along those polished black stone walls, we're going to place down item frames with black concrete blocks in those item frames. Same thing over here. And we're going to go ahead and also, if we're on Java, we're going to go ahead and take birchwood signs and place down birchwood signs along the side of the walls there. If you're on Bedrock, you're not able to do this feature, as you can now put signs and item frames in the same block space. If that's the case, you can go ahead and pick between the two. You can either have just the item frames or just the birchwood signs. Either one will work in this case. So again, I'll kind of leave it up to you guys. At this point here, we're going to place down a row of 3 of black concrete across, this time with a skeleton skull to both ends. We're going to go ahead and then place down a stack of, or row 3 across of black concrete, followed by a second row, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 rows of black concrete, rows of 3 of black concrete going across, and then we're going to take our white stained glass panes and place down a row of 8 along the side of there of those rows of 3. We're going to then place down a row 3 here, a skeleton skull to both sides, another, a row 2 black concrete blocks down the center here, and we're going to then take our polished blackstone walls, or 1 polished blackstone wall, we're going to place it down here in the corner, and then an upside down polished blackstone stair to both sides. On the sides of the wall and stair, we're going to place down our black item frames and our birchwood signs, just like this again if we're on Java. And again, if you're on Bedrock, go ahead and do whatever you did for the front section back here. So either the item frames or the birchwood signs, whichever you prefer. After that, we're going to then place down another black concrete block here in the center, followed by a second one back. And we're going to then take our black stone stairs. We're going to go ahead and place down a row 2 on the sides there. And we actually want to go ahead and replace the middle block in here with a upside down stair as well. Now around these stairs, we're going to go ahead and place down item frames, going all the way around. We're We're going to go then grab our black beds, and we're going to place down black beds in those item frames, rotate so the pillow is facing toward the bottom. Like this all the way around. Oops. For all of our item frames. And then once we have this all done here, we can go ahead and then, again, if we're on Java, place down dark oak wood signs over the side of the item frames. On Bedrock, you definitely want to go ahead and do the item frames here. If you cannot place the signs, then just go ahead and disregard the signs. But the black beds here in the item frames are definitely something you'd rather want to have on the back there rather than just the signs. Anyways, once we have that all complete there, that is going to wrap up what we have there for layer number 3. Layer 2. Looking at from above here, this is what we should have with the layer complete. Anyways, with that, let's go ahead and move into our next layer, layer number 3. Alright guys, moving into our next layer here, we have layer number 3. So for layer 3, to go ahead and get started with here, we're going to place down a polished blackstone slab here, followed by a polished blackstone top slab coming off of it like so. At this point here, we're going to go and then grab a wither skeleton skull. We're going to place it down to both sides of this slab. And we then want to go ahead and go from this section here, we're going to place down an end rod here on top of this dark oak wood fence gate. And then we're going to go up and out to the side here from these barrier blocks. So like that. And then we're going to place down a stone button there on both sides like that. We're also going to place down a barrier block coming off this end rod here. And on both sides of the barrier block, we're going to go ahead and have stone buttons like so. Once we have that all squared away, we also want to go ahead and place down a chain, which is going to be going down from this. It's going to be out to the side here and back like this. So like that to both sides. Same thing over here, like so. And we will want to go ahead and place down one more forward. So we're going to place down one more forward like this on both sides. After that's done, we're going to then grab wither skeleton skulls. We're going to place down a wither skeleton skull here on top of these walls to both sides like that. In the middle here, we're going to go ahead and place down a redstone repeater with the notches spread apart like that. And then once we get to this section here, we're going to go ahead and place down a direct wall here to begin with, followed by a spruce trapdoor to both sides, a row of 3 of spruce wood trapdoors, and do make sure that the trapdoors are all facing the same direction. It's just going to create a nicer overall look to the ship. And one thing also we can go ahead and adjust is anywhere that we have the these direct walls for the mast, we can go ahead and place down a spruce wood block underneath that to kind of close that or make it look a little more kind of blend in with the deck space. We're going to go then place down a second row of 3 of spruce wood trapdoors across. At this point here, we're going to then place down 2 smooth quartz blocks down the center, followed by, again, spruce wood trapdoors to the sides. We're going to place down 2 more rows of 3 of spruce wood trapdoors along the side of the ship here, followed by another direct wall located in this section, followed by a spruce wood block underneath that wall, and then to both sides of the wall, a spruce wood trapdoor. We then want to place down another spruce wood trapdoor to both sides. This is going to be followed up with a redstone repeater in the middle here, and then also a daylight detector like so. Turn to the night mode like so, and then a spruce wood trapdoor to both sides again. We're going to then place down another row 3 of spruce wood trapdoors across, followed by again a polished blackstone wall, a direct wall here in the center, and we can change that block it sits on to a spruce wood block. We're going to then place down 1 and 2 dark oak fence gates along the side here and have these opened up toward the outside. So 1, 2, and have them opened up to the outside. And coming off those 2 fence gates there, we're going to place down 2 quartz top slabs to the sides. Grabbing our spruce wood trapdoors, we're going to place down 1, 2 down the center. So just like this. And we're going to then take our polished blackstone slabs, place down a row of polished blackstone slabs around the sides like that. And we then want to go and take dark oak wood signs, place them down here on the sides of these slabs. So like that to both sides. And we're going to then grab ourselves a item frame. And we're going to place down a row of 3 of item frames across here. Black concrete blocks in those item frames, and then dark oak wood signs on the sides of the slabs as well. And after we have that all complete there, that is going to wrap it up for that section. And we're going to start focusing our attention here to the sides now. The sides here, we're going to go all the way along the trapdoors here, placing down our item frames. And we want to go ahead and start off by going ahead and go into the first item frame here. We're going to place down a black concrete, followed by a ladder, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 black concrete blocks in those item frames, followed by another ladder, and again 2 black concrete blocks along the side there. We're going to go do the same thing over here. So our item frames all the way along the side here, like so. 2 black concrete, ladder, 2, 4, or 6, and 6, and then we're going to place down a ladder, and then another black concrete block like that. And from this point here, we're just going to take our dark oak sides and place them down along the sides of the item frames with the black concrete. Again, this is a Java only feature, and you kind of have a couple options here. If you want to have the item frames here kind of representing the cannon holes here for the cannons that would be on the deck, you can go ahead and basically leave the item frames, or if you don't care about that little feature, you can go ahead and just put signs across the side there and leave the item frames there with the ladders. Kind of up to you guys again what you want to do here, but again, if you're on Java, you kind of get the best of both worlds here and able to build both. But again, that's something I'll kind of leave up to you guys and what you guys would rather add to the side here of these ships. So just like that, and after we have that all done there, that's going to pretty much wrap up what we have here for this layer. So that right there is going to do it for layer 3. With that, we're probably going to move into our final layers and really kind of just work on a lot of the masts and rigging and kind of our longest part of the tutorial. But we have the whole of the ship done, and with that, let's go ahead and move into the upper layers. Alright guys, so moved into our final layers, we have layers 4 through 14. For these layers, to go ahead and get started with here, we're going to place down a polished blackstone slab on top of this end rod, and then we're going to place down 2 end rods out to both sides, like so. After we have that done, we want to go ahead and then go up from the slab and forward with a barrier block, like so, and we're going to go ahead and place down a lever on the bottom of the barrier block facing toward the slab, like that. After we have that done, we're going to place down a barrier block coming off this lever, so like so, and we're going to then place down a lever on top of this barrier block. So you should get something that looks like this from the front here, and when the barrier blocks disappear, we get something that looks like that. We're going to then place down a end rod coming off that lever there on the front. After that's all done, we then want to go ahead and place down a stone button. That's going to be on both sides of this block with the lever. So just like that to both sides there. And then going ahead and coming off of those levers there, or those buttons there, we're going to place down an iron bar like this, like that on both sides going toward the front there. And then after that, we want to go and then grab a set of stone buttons again, and on both sides of this barrier block underneath here with the stone button, we're going to place down some stone buttons. From this, we want to go and then place down a row of 1 chain coming off these 2 end rods, or yeah, these 2 end rods there on both sides like so. And once we get to this point, we're going to start focusing our attention to the mast. We have that front rigging done. At this point here, for our front mast, we're going to place down another set of 3 of direct walls going up for this forward mast. We're going to take our end rods going to the third from top. We're going to go and place down a total of 3 end rods out to the sides. So 1, 2, 3. Then after that, we want to go ahead and place down a skeleton skull on the side of this wall, followed by a skeleton skull here, and then 1 coming off both sides of the skeleton skull, just like that, and then 1 also on the side of this one, so you create this section here. We're going to go then place down a smooth quartz block on top of this one here, or on top of that wall, and then 2 end rods out to the sides, like so. And we then want to place down another brick fence post going up, a direct wall, and then 1, 2, and 3 another brick fence posts up like this, and then an iron bar on top. On the middle another brick fence post, we're going to place down a end rod out to both sides, and on top of this direct wall, we're going to place down 2 end rods out to the sides like so. With that all finished, we're going to then grab chains. We're going to place down a chain on top of these 2 end rods here, on these ones right here, and on these end rods like that on both sides there for the front rigging like that. We then want to grab our barrier blocks. We're going to go ahead and start off by going ahead and going to the top here of this narrow brick wall. We're going to basically go down at an angle, so kind of like a staircase. So this is going to go all the way down, and this will connect up to the front here. So it's going to land right on top of the end rod there. And we then just want to take our stone buttons, and we're going to place down stone buttons here on the side of these barrier blocks. That's going to go all the way up, like that. And we're going to do the same thing over here on this side. So we're going to go and double layer it, like so. After that's done, we then want to go and place down a barrier block that's going to be coming off of this wall right here. And again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come down at a constant angle, going all the way down, like so. And we connect up to this point here. And we're going to take our stone buttons and same thing like we did for the previous line that went up. We're going to place down stone buttons here on the side of those barrier blocks, going all the way up. After that, we want to go and then move our attention back to the rear of the mast here. And we're going to go ahead and start off by placing down a barrier block on top of this trapdoor here. And we would then place down a ladder coming off the side of it. We're going to then place down another barrier block here. And another ladder right here. Same thing over here, ladder. And a barrier block with a ladder. So just like that. Once that's done, we're going to go and then place down in there 2 barrier blocks here. Then 2 ladders going up. And then each lever on top of this barrier block facing toward the front there. And that right there is going to complete our front mast. Our next mast is going to be our middle mast, and our biggest one. We're going to start off by going ahead and placing down 4 more walls up. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 more up. This 4th one here, we're going to place down skeleton skulls around all 4 sides of the wall. And then coming off the skeleton skulls like this on both ends, we're going to go and place down more skeleton skulls like that to go and create this little platform here. With that, we also want to go and grab some end rods in on our middle wall. So this one right here, we're going to go and place down 3 end rods out to the side. So just like we did for the front there. Same thing over here. We then want to go ahead and go up to this section. We're going to place down a smooth quartz block. 2 end rods out to the sides of that block. Continuing up, we're going to place down a narrow brick wall, followed by a diorite wall, and coming off the diorite wall, we're going to place down 2 end rods out to the sides. We then want to place down another 1, 2, and 3 narrow brick walls up, and on the very top here, we're going to be going ahead and placing down an iron bar, like so. After that, coming off both sides of the middle narrow brick wall, we're going to place down 2 end rods out to the sides, like so. With that done, we're going to take chains. We're going to place down chains here between these end rods, then dropping down to these end rods here. And then at this point here, these end rods right here, where it comes off the quartz block, should actually be 3 out. And then we can just go ahead and go down from these end rods, a total of 3 chains just like that. Same thing over here, like so. And after that's all done, we want to go and then grab our barrier blocks. We're going to place down 1 and 2 barrier blocks like this. We're going to drop down, go forward, 1 and 2 barrier blocks, and then we're going to go ahead and place down, we're going to drop down at 1 again and go forward 1 just like that. And at this point we can go and take our stone buttons. We're going to place down stone buttons here on the sides of those barrier blocks. And it's going to be the same thing here on both sides, like that, going all the way forward and connecting up there. And once we get to this point, we want to go ahead and then go up to this section, go into this narrow brick fence post here. We're going to place down 2 barrier blocks going forward. We're going to drop down and go down 2 forward, and then we're going to drop down again and go 1 forward. And same thing here, we're just going to place down our stone buttons there on the sides of these barrier blocks, just like that. And lastly, up on top here, for this set of rigging, we're going to place down a row of 3 of barrier blocks. That's going to drop down to a additional row of 3. So 1, 2, 3. And after we have that done, we're going to place down stone buttons on both sides of this one, 2 up on top, stone buttons on both sides of this one, and again 2 stone buttons going back like that. After that's done, for our kind of ladders that go up, we're going to place down a barrier block on top of this trapdoor here, so the one with the iron frame and the ladder. We're going to place down a ladder coming off that barrier block, and same thing over here. So just like this. And then in the middle here, we're going to place down 1 and 2 barrier blocks up, 2 ladders here to both sides, like so. And we're going to then place down another 2 barrier blocks up right here, and 2 ladders going up like that. And then once that's done, we're going to place down a lever on top here and flick it toward the wall, just like that. Once we have that all finished, we're going to then move into our rear mast. So our rear mast is going to consist of doing a diorite wall on top of this one here, followed by a second one, so you want to have a total of 3 going up, followed by a smooth quartz block right here. And around this third block right here, we're going to take our skeleton skulls and just wrap them around like so, and then place down skeleton skulls here coming off the stairs like that in the corners. We're going to then take our end rods. We're going to place down 2 end rods out to the sides here, like so. And we're going to then also place down 2 end rods coming off the side of this quartz block, like this. After that's done, we want to go ahead and then place down a nether brick wall here, or a nether brick fence post, followed by a diorite wall. Coming off the diorite wall, a end rod to both sides, and also an end rod coming off the side facing toward the rear. We're going to go then place down 1, let's see, let's readjust this, 1, 2, and 3 nether brick walls going up, end rod on both sides of the middle nether brick wall, and on the very top here, we're going to go and place down a iron bar, just like that. With that all done, we're going to then place down a barrier block here, coming off this nether brick fence post, and then a barrier block coming off this lever. And then taking our stone buttons, we're just going to place down stone buttons on both sides of these barrier blocks. Go ahead and continue on. We're going to go and then place down a barrier block that's going to be coming off the skeleton skull, and then a barrier block coming off this wall. We're going to go and place down stone buttons coming off both sides there, like that. And then lastly, we're going to place down a barrier block that's coming off this quartz block, and then a barrier block coming off the skeleton skull here. And same thing, stone buttons on both sides here for that inner mast rigging. We then want to go ahead and take our chains. We're going to place down a chain here between those end rods. We're going to then place down a chain that goes up, like so. And we then want to go and place down another chain that goes up between those end rods, just like that. And after we have that all done there, we're going to go and start off by working on all of our back detailing by going ahead and grabbing an end rod, and we're going to place down an end rod that goes off of this block, or this wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 end rods back. We're going to then place down a barrier block coming up both sides of this end rod, so like so. And we're going to then place down a ladder on the sides of that barrier block. Once we have that done, we want to go ahead and start off by going ahead and placing down a row of 1, 2 of barrier blocks, stone buttons on both sides. After that, we're going to then go up a row. So right here's going to be a row 2, so we're going to go up, and we have a row 2, stone buttons on both sides of this block, and then a stone button on top of this one. And then we just want to place down a barrier block coming off this nether brick fence post, and again, same thing here, stone buttons there on both sides. At this point here, we're going to then go up to this barrier block. So let me go ahead and select it. So this one here, we're going to build up 2 more. And we're going to have stone buttons on both sides of these 2. So just like that, going up there on the back. Now at this point, we're going to go ahead and then place down a barrier block that is going to be a row 2 coming off this nether brick fence post here. We're going to place down a stone button on top of this first one, and then a stone button on both sides of the second one. We then want to grab a lever, and we're going to place down a lever on the bottom of this barrier block, flicked to connect up to that end rod, just like so. After that, we're going to then place down a barrier block, which is going to be coming off the lever. On top of this barrier block here, we're going to place down a lever that faces backwards. And at this point here, we're going to build our flag, which is going to be consisting of a blue concrete block. And we're going to grab some brick slabs and some TNT. We're going to place down a brick top slab on the bottom of that blue concrete block, a brick slab coming off the blue concrete, a TNT block, and then we're going to go out to the side here with a TNT block, and then a brick slab that comes down from like that for the American flag on the rear of the ship there. And once we have that done, go ahead and grab our barrier blocks here. This is kind of a final look here of what this whole back section looks like. And then without the barrier blocks, we'll let that disappear there, and you can kind of see there all that rigging. So that right there is pretty much it for the rigging for the ship, and with that, that is going to complete layers 4 through 14 of it. Probably the longest part of the tutorial easily, just because we have so much detail and a lot going on. So yeah, that right there is going to pretty much wrap up my tutorial here for the USS Constitution, heavy frigate from the Revolutionary War era. Anyways, hope you guys do enjoy this ship and are able to put it to good use. If you do end up using this tutorial, I do ask that you guys give me proper credit for it. This will be a link from the side of the build, link to my channel, or this video if this does appear on any social media sites. As long as you guys give me proper credit for the build, you're free. If for projects you guys are working on, overall enjoy the build, have fun with it, and all that fun stuff. Again, a big happy 4th of July to all my American viewers out there, and hopefully you can build this nice piece of history to kind of commemorate July 4th and the independence declared, separating our country from the rule of Great Britain. Anyways, thank you guys again so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This has been Garrett204, and I'll see you guys next time.